All right, guys. Good evening to you all, and I trust you are good, and I trust you are enjoying the holiday over there. All right. So today is 28th December. Yeah. So I believe we are all of the same timing. So today we've got just a topic today, and it's all about functions and control flow in JavaScript. Okay, so with that being said, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so we're going to talk about control flow and yeah, and functions in JavaScript, right? So with that being said, let's open our VS Code and open the folder that contains our project directories. Okay, so let me just cancel this and open recent. By opening recent, I should be able to get where I kind of stopped. So it's a bit plenty of informations here. Okay, so basically, I am unable to find it, so I'll just close it and go straight up to the folder and get it open like that. That was a bit easy. I have quite a lot of files. So inside this JavaScript, we want to copy, like move every file. So I will ignore the README and move all this, and I might give it yesterday. I just want to give it a folder called yesterday. Okay, whatever way it will be, just yesterday. So I want to create today's for okay. Before I do that, let me move all those files inside this yesterday, which I've just done. So when I go back to this JavaScript, I should get only one file yesterday. Okay, so I'll create a new file. Okay, and I'll call the file folder. Call the folder. Sorry. Today is 28. That's date, month, and here which is 2023. All right, so I'll hit enter, and inside this today's date, we're going to talk about the topic for today, which is the functions and control flow in JavaScript. So inside this folder, I'll open it in Java in my VS Code, and yeah, so that's okay. So we can start working on the file itself. Okay, right. So with that being said, there is a folder that we're going to create. Let's just call this folder, because since we are working with only just JavaScript at the moment, we will create the JavaScript folder. And you already know of the rest of the folders you need to create. You need to create a CSS folder, create a HTML file, and create an image folder and all of that. Okay, so you already know the structure. Like I always recommend you guys to have whenever you're creating a web application, right? So that is what I want you to do. So this my create participants always take a few seconds, like 30 to 40 seconds before it comes up. Okay. So basically, let's start to talk before it comes up. So what do you understand by the function declaration functions in JavaScript? Okay. So we're going to talk about the function declaration. Okay, in JavaScript. Okay. So when you see something they call like function declaration, it simply means you trying to declare a function, create a function with the function keyword, right? So that's basically what you kind of mean by function declaration. Okay, so I just want to quickly create the rest folder, which is the CSS folder, and lastly the index.html, which is the entry point for our program. All right, so with that being said, let's create a file inside the JS folder. So we'll call that one let's just call it scripts.js. Yeah, that's what we call it. So now for us to do the function declaration, we need to use the function keyword to declare our function. Okay, so we first of all bring the function keyword like this, right? And you specify the name of the function you are trying to create. Okay, you use the function keyword to create a function. Okay, so whenever you want to create a function, this function that we're creating is called greet, and you always need to pass two parentheses to it like this, right? Then you can actually add maybe an attribute, or you call it a yeah, or something like that. Okay, so basically you pass in that parameter to the greet function. Okay, so it takes just one parameter. Sometimes you can give it several parameters, but it's all up to you. Okay, so it's all up to you. whatever parameters we want to give it to. But now I just want to give it one parameter called name. All right. So after giving it the parameter, then you use the curly brace to pass in the next logic. Okay. So here we just want to console log something to the screen. Okay. Basically, we can just do something like hello world, right? Do you understand that? Okay. So just say hello world. Yeah, hello. So but basically let's just say, since it's a greeting function, let's try to concatenate this name. Okay, we did something similar to this the other time, right? So we're just gonna like a recap of what we did the other time. Okay, so we're gonna concatenate maybe an exclamation mark here. Okay, so that is what we want. Now let's try to use this function. Okay, let's try to use this function in our code. So drag this guy down a bit, and let's come down a bit. Let's call the function here. We use the greet. Since this is a function, that's what we call it. Okay, so we might want to pass in some arguments to it. Okay, so let's just say we give it Jonathan. Okay, sorry, there's some mistake here. Jonathan. All right, so this is the value we have passed to this parameter there. So whenever we call this function, it should print this together with the value with this parameter, together with the value that you have passed to this parameter there. So let's run this code and see what we would get. So but first of all, let's confirm that we are in the right directory. um Okay, yeah, basically, yeah. So let's try to run it with the node, and let's say script. Oh, sorry. We first of all go into JS like this. Okay, so inside this JS, you see script .js, right? So when you hit enter, sorry, there was a mistake there. Okay, yeah? So you can see it said hello Jonathan, because Jonathan is the argument we pass to this name variable, right? So basically that is what you should understand. Okay, so there is something again that is called function expression. Okay, so the first one talked about just now is function declaration, right? So I'll call this guy readme. I like rating readme. Readme gives more details about your projects, about what you're doing. Okay, so we just talked about function declaration. Okay, declaration, and I think I would not need the screen for now. Let me just expand this, so guys, so that you can see the whole content of the screen. So basically, the first one talked about now is function declaration, and the next one we're going to talk about now, okay, is basically function expressions. Okay, so we just call this one function expressions. All right, so that's what we want to talk about now. So inside this same JavaScript, we might just want to comment these guys out like this, and just go to the bottom of it, and let's use the let command, the let function, to create some variables here. Okay, let's call this one multiply. Okay, and you already know what multiply does. Okay, so let's give it a function called x and y. Okay, so whenever I give it a function, you need to kind of give it put in some curly brace and pass in the next argument there. So here we just want to return x and y. Okay, so but this time, since it's a multiplication function, you just use the x asterisk and y, right? So this is what it would return whenever you call the multiply function. Okay, right, so this is what we want to do. So let's create a simple code. Let's use it here at the bottom. So let's say result. All right, so we say result is equal to this multiply function that we just created at the top there, right? So we open it and pass in this multiply function is taking two parameters here, right? So since it has parameters here, we need to pass in two arguments, right? So the two arguments will be multiplied by itself. Sorry. So first of all, we have like 5 and we have 10. So these are the two arguments that you have passed. And whenever, what next you'll be expecting, that it will be 5 times 10. That is what we'll be expecting. Okay. So basically, let's try to console log this result and see what we would get on the screen. So we can just say result, the final results is. Okay, so we just do something like this, and we'll just concatenate the result variable like this. Okay, sorry, results like this. So we just add like a full stop, or yes, just like a full stop like this, right? So that is what we want to do there. Okay, so let's try to run this code and see what we'll get. So first of all, you bring the node and you specify the directory and the file that you are trying to access. Okay, so let's hit enter. You can see we got that the final result is 50 with a full stop, because that is what we specified right there at the bottom there. Okay, we created the variable and the variable holds this function with the parameters. Like we kind of gave it two arguments, which is the 5 and the 10, and by our function declaration here, we specified that the argument will be multiplied by themselves. Like you will use the x and multiply it with the y, right? So basically that is what we were expecting, and that is what we outputted to this stored in this result, and we try to output the same content on the screen here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is control flow. Okay, we're going to talk about control flow in JavaScript. Okay, so what is control flow? Control flow is about you knowing how to utilize the conditional statement, the if and else statement. Okay, so basically that is what you should understand about, okay, the control flow in JavaScript. So let me just take this guy down and say control flow in JavaScript. Okay, so I have told you is talking about when you say control flow, it's all about the conditional statement in JavaScript, which is the if, and else statements. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the business and create some functions. Okay, so let me comment these guys out and go to the bottom a bit. All right, so control flow of a program, you kind of need to use the conditional statement, like I've said. Okay, so let's create a function. Let's just call this function, or basically let's just create a simple function like we did the other time. Okay, so let's call this one temperature. Okay, we did something similar like this the other time. Okay, so just a recap of what we did the other day so that you can get it more clear. Okay, so we have already declared the function here, or sorry, a variable, and we assigned the value 25 to this variable, right? We use the let keyword to declare a variable called temperature, and we assigned 25 with this equal to. This equal to is the assigning a symbol to assign a value to a variable. Okay, so yeah, that is for you to recap or to understand what we are trying to implement at the top there. Okay, so now we get this temperature variable that is holding that 25. So we are not checking that if that temperature is greater than 30, we should do this. Okay, so basically we want to console log something to the screen. If the temperature is greater than 30, initially it is holding 25, but anything that will make it to be greater than 30, we want to say is a hot day, because 25, we assume that 25 is the normal day, right? Okay, so we want to say console.log. Okay, we want to say console.log. Okay, so let me just end this tutorial here. In the next section, we're going to continue from this explanation, so the video will not be too long. Okay, so see you in the next video and stay tuned.